Hello viewers, thank you to watching World and I program. I'm Mughal from Islamabad, Pakistan now. As you see, the world has been going to be changed. A lot of things happening in America, in Japan, whatever in the world. And everybody, you're watching from the eyes of the Pakistan. One of my friend, Imtiaz Gul, he's a very senior analyst, a journalist, writer, and he's doing a lot of the channels, commentator. And I'm going to ask him a lot of questions about the world affairs, what's going on about the world affair. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome to Mughal channel, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, sir, always you have been giving, I'm watching your channel and your news analysis, you're doing perfectly and, professionally things.
Just trying our bit.
No, really, very good. So, first of all, sir, I will ask you that how you're watching this, that the world changing due to this election of 2004. Donald Trump is coming as a new president and everybody's expecting a lot of expectation from him. So, watching from the Pakistan eyes, how you observe this?
Well, I think there are more fears than expectations associated with Trump's arrival or his victory, because he's seen as a big disruptor, as a big enemy of the status quo forces, and he's already making plans, announcing to cut down the size of the federal government. He's also announcing some plans to curtail the freedoms that were so far available to the intelligence agencies, to the federal bureaucracy. He's already, I think, spelled out a 4 or 5 point plan on how he basically wants to increase the importance of the digital platforms such as X compared to what Elon Musk calls the legacy media. Legacy media, there's CNN, MSNBC, USA Today, Washington Post. So the plan basically by the Trump administration is to is also to minimize the censorship that he says has been exercised by federal agencies without getting any permission from the courts. So it's a big upheaval, I think, that lies ahead of us, and we'll see how this plan pans out and what impact will this plan have on America as well as on the world as a whole.
What do you think about this? This the world wars going to the Gaza and Israel wars and going to Ukraine and Russian wars. Can you think that he can stop this war?
I think the Trump team has already charted out a plan for how to end the Ukraine conflict, and they probably are suggesting that there has to be a freeze on NATO membership for Ukraine for 20 years, and that there has to be some quid pro quo. So it appears that primarily Donald Trump will act as soon as possible, immediately after taking oath, to end not only the Ukraine conflict but also pressurize Israel to end its atrocities in Palestine, its ongoing war in Lebanon. I mean, we have to be very clear that whether it's a Democratic Party or the Republican Party, both have been very clear, staunch supporters of Israel, because the corporate America is in the grip of the Jews, and the Jews are very sympathetic, most of them, to the state of Israel. And that's why we cannot expect any wonders from the Trump administration. But because Trump is anti-war, Trump is anti-conflict,
That's right.
and because he's more focused on domestic issues, on public health, on information, on justice. That's why the expectation is that he would perhaps stop the financial aid that is currently flowing to Israel, as well as the arms supplies, and that might then bring an end to the Israeli aggression on the Palestinians as well as in Lebanon.
I see. Okay, sir, I will ask you, you have been very deeply observing about the Pakistan and American diplomatic relation and what's going on. I think is a big influence of the America to the Pakistan government. How do you observe it? What kind of will be change you are thinking about future? Pakistan and Japan, Pakistan and American relation, yes, please.
Well, actually, we are anxiously waiting for Trump to get into the office and see how his plans unfold, whether Pakistan will fit into his priorities, whether it will figure somewhere higher up in his priority list. But one thing is clear, that increasingly what we hear is Trump's attempts to adopt the democratic agenda of human rights. What I was going through some articles, also his plan on media and media freedom and freedom of speech. So it underlines that Trump is planning to adapt that agenda. If he goes for freedom of speech and for restoration of fundamental American rights, American citizens' rights, then there will be trouble for countries like Turkey, countries like Pakistan, just because he is saying that the democratic freedoms available to the American citizens have to be protected. And for him, the freedom of speech is critical to that.
That's right.
So if he would hold the freedom of speech dear to his agenda, and that would automatically mean his team will also focus on other countries, on the friends of the United States, on allies of the United States, wherever the freedom of speech, freedom of expression is being undermined. So I think this lens of human rights would be applied, in my expectation, to other countries. And if that happens, so that will also is likely to bring about many changes in Pakistan too.
One thing now, coming back to the, Pakistan and China relations. So Pakistan is, I think, very intelligent country. He's making balance with the American government and balance with the Chinese government and the Middle East here, and he has a very good relation with Russia. How do you think this is, and first thing, we have been watching, we are friendly with the China, but somehow, last time the Prime Minister of China came to Pakistan to, making opening ceremony of this Gawad or everything. But before that, the Pakistan terrorism has been killing Chinese people. How you observe this?
Well, I think Chinese are not naive. They know who is killing their people.
That's right.
It's not Pakistanis. It may be Pakistanis, but it's being sponsored from outside.
That's right.
So the Chinese, the second largest economic power right now.
Yes.
So they are very clear that the campaign, which is targeting the Chinese interests in Pakistan, is being sponsored from outside.
From outside.
So that's why they will not make an excuse. They will not hold just Pakistan alone responsible for these acts. They know there are extraneous, external factors fueling this kind of proxy terrorism. So I think this will not upset the relationship between Pakistan and China. However, the Pakistani security apparatus, Pakistani security forces shall have to act more smartly, shall have to be more innovative as far as safeguarding the Chinese interests in Pakistan is concerned.
I see. So what do you think in the future, the business relation between China and Pakistan?
Business relationship will thrive.
Will thrive.
Because China is becoming expensive, the way Japan became expensive.
And China is good.
It's going high-tech, and they would like to basically connect with the rest of the world and relocate their industrial production and also find new avenues for businesses. So that's why a lot of private businesses are coming, Chinese businesses are coming to Pakistan. It's a big country, 250 million country, so it's a big market, although it's not as big as India, but it still offers some. So I think Chinese will try to connect as much as possible with Pakistan, with Bangladesh, with Afghanistan. So nothing will stop them. I think this kind of proxy terrorism is not likely to impact the Chinese
Impact,
investments in Pakistan.
But somehow, Mr. Gul, you're saying like that, but what I am watching from Japan, a lot of, news is coming, very negative image from Pakistan, that terrorism is happening here, TTP, BBC, ETP, LTP. How you describe this? Why these kinds of terrorist group or like...
No, I just told you.
Yes,
I think you may have missed that point, that it's proxy terrorism, being financed and
outside
supported
the
from
country.
outside.
And how to tackle that?
The first is that it's directed at the Chinese interests.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, how to tackle it? Of course, this is what I said, that Pakistani security forces, Pakistani army, and the police shall have to be more innovative in countering such threats. It will require much more effort than it is being done today, as of now. But it will be very difficult to stop this kind of proxy terrorism. Maybe China shall have to also talk to India. And I don't see that time far away, 5 to 10 years down the lane. Because this is going to be the century of China, century of Asia, and Asia comprises China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So I think these countries eventually will form an alliance a few years down the lane. That's because the Indian interest also lies in the Asian continent, not with the United States alone. So I think at some stage, a few years down the lane, this proxy terrorism will also come to an end if both China and India get involved in good, fruitful conversation on all issues, including terrorism, security, and commercial relations.
Mr. Gul, I am living more than 40 years in Japan, and I'm bringing a lot of tourists to, the religious tourism to Pakistan. But this 20 years, this tourism has been blocked because of this, the fear of this.
Well, this is the intention.
Yes.
This is the intention of proxy terrorists and of all those who are sponsoring them to prevent foreigners from coming into Pakistan. So they are doing everything. Like, imagine India has now refused to play cricket in Pakistan once again.
Right. Yes, you're right.
We are planning, the Champions Trophy is planned for February and March, and now it has become uncertain after India has refused. Although the Australian, New Zealand and English cricket teams have visited Pakistan very recently within 1 year. But India remains very reticent, very inflexible, and that also shows the intention as to what they want. They want to single out and marginalize Pakistan as much as possible.
I see. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Gul. I will ask you last to give a message. A lot of my international media friends are watching this program in Japan. They can understand English. Let's look at the camera, give your message to them, please.
Yeah, well, my message is that any news that you hear, you should apply the critical lens to it. You should also ask 3 times why. Just because without asking why, you cannot ask a question, why is so much terrorism taking place in Pakistan? It has a purpose, it has an objective. I call it proxy terrorism. And proxy terrorism is driven externally, being sponsored by outside, and it has certain objectives. So think about it. What can be that objective?
Thank you very much. So viewers, here was Mr. Imtiaz Gul was with me. Thank you very much for watching it. Thank you, sir.